Hello, hello. I hope everyone is having a good day. I'm trying to fly through breakfast, it was easy to make, but it is not very good. Hi, you. How's it going? Oh man, I wanted these to be Starbucks egg bites, and they are not that. Wowie zowie. Okay. Oh, I threw a fork on the ground. Hold on. I gotta go get a new fork. I'll be back. Target acquired. Okay, that egg bite tasted like ass. Oh yeah, compressed summer class? No, that's the worst. You are so right. Also, hi, Cam. Welcome in, welcome in. Okay, so I realized that somehow I fucking accidentally deleted this entire pose here on the sheet. So I get to spend my first bit of this morning redrawing this. And thankfully I had saved out the actual, like, for web version of this, which is good. But I don't know how that happened. Why did it taste like butthole? Well, one, I don't like eggs, so anything that tastes too much like eggs is going to be a problem for me, but I need the protein. And then secondly, unfortunately, there is no seasoning on this egg at all. It is literally just unadulterated egg and sausage. Unfortunately. And the Starbucks egg bites are good because they are like 90% cheese. This was a freebie egg bite I got for somebody signing up for Marley Spoon using my referral code, which was great. But was it worth it? Probably not. Will Jace eat the other two? Yes. I have to, like, cover it in ketchup, I think, in order for this to taste, like, good. Truly. Yeah, well, like, yeah, for me, I'm like, no, not even for free. Like, if I had to choose something else, I would have. But they only give you specific choices for free items every time you unlock a reward like that. So, you just have to kind of deal. Like, Jace had a falafel wrap the other day that was, like, a pre-made, like, pre-assembled falafel wrap. And apparently that thing was pretty good. But it really depends on, like, the company that makes the freebies. So, right, I have monkey bread black tea with a sweet cream creamer. And that will prevent me from being in a situation where my mouth is super sad. Cannot see, I can hear. Alright, so I am sad that I have to redo this entire thing, but also I'm so glad that the thing that ended up getting deleted was just this. This is easy. This is like no biggie. And then I have to do a bunch of faces, and that's what we're going to do today. I thought I was going to do K-pop Demon Hunters fan art today, but I realized I hate the piece that I was like I had started on. And I do not want to look at that monstrosity again. And I'm going to probably need to do some pretty severe reworking for it. And that's okay. That's just the way that it goes sometimes. Sometimes you don't have good art days, and that was one of those days. And then, now here we are. I suddenly am overwhelmed with, like, actually a bunch of contract work, which is insane, so... Like, good thing, because I want to be able to pay rent. But also... Song is fun, but unfortunately this playlist is for children, so I can't have anything that has the word fuck in it. Unless you're in Sweden. In Sweden, you can cuss in front of the children all you want. Maybe not a fuck, but at the very least a shit. And I know that for sure because I have a middle grade comic / novel book from Sweden in Swedish that has the word shit in it. So, joke's on them. American children are weak. But I'm like in the middle of working on this website for this guy, and he's finally happy with some images that I chose. I think he was worried about my process, and now I think he feels a little bit better about it, which is good. So that's nice. But then I also started the assessment on that real short thing, and I'm literally losing my mind. I actually did some research on the company last night because I was trying to figure out, I was like, why the fuck do these feel like C-dramas? And the answer is it because they are. And I'm assuming that the English scripts get dubbed into Chinese after they are produced. I can only assume. Yeah, they definitely are. I was actually doing some research on the company, which is great because I was like, man, how do these people pay you? You know what I mean? I was like, are they gonna go like a PayPal route? Is this like a wire transfer? You know, like this seems like, because if the company ends up being kind of shady or sketchy, and then you end up not getting paid, you know, after you've done all that work, like that's just, you know, really shitty. So I was like, man, is this, like, does this company actually exist? Like, what is the, overall vibe, right? Like, does anybody have any reputation for it? Because, like, when I was looking up reviews for the company on Glassdoor, like, everybody there was like, I fucking hate this company. I hate working for this company. I'm not happy working at this company. But I also recognize that a lot of people that go and leave reviews for stuff typically only leave negative reviews. I'm like a weirdo, and if I have a really good experience, I'll go and leave a review. Or even if I have a meh experience, I'll still go and leave a review. But most people don't function like that, and they only leave reviews if they're really, really bad. So I was like, okay, like these people have left these reviews effectively saying that the work pacing for the company is just too fucking fast. And is really stressful, and they don't like working there, etc., etc. And I was like, okay, so that's interesting. And, like, granted, what they're asking me to do in the period of time that they've given me is really fast. I'm not gonna lie. But I was like, I wonder why that is. So then I find out that this company was founded in, like, 2017, but they didn't really start doing this, like, video format stuff until kind of recently, I think in, like, 2022. And the guy who owns the company figured out how to effectively make a publishing pipeline, a production pipeline for film for under $300,000 per movie, so to speak, per show. So for comparison, Netflix spends millions of dollars producing their shows. And this guy is doing it for literally a 16th of the cost. And the reason is because he's not spending money, as he said so aptly, I think, on A-list celebrities. And so that's why the production quality looks like it was made in somebody's studio backlot, because it kind of was. So it has the production budget and quality of like a telenovela or like a soap opera. But what that also means is that the people who are working on it actually are getting paid pretty good money for very little time. Like, I ended up doing the math, and I won't give the exact numbers because, again, I don't think I can talk about it super heavily. But, like, we're talking, like, if I work at the speed that I normally do, or, like, the pace that I was working last night, my final hourly rate for this kind of a project is $300 an hour. I'm not even fucking exaggerating. And it depends on how fast you work, if you're able to get them to work in the time frame that they need it, etc., etc., etc. So you have to be willing to effectively go like balls to the wall and just be fast. That's the secret. It's be fast or don't is effectively their philosophy. But they are able to produce a full television show with 65 total episodes in 3 months. And that to me is absolutely fucking, one, incredible, and two, insane. And then also, two, the CEO, he did say something that was like, you know, kind of a bummer, you know, but it is what it is, where he ended up saying, like, if we had the ability to do all of this with AI, we wouldn't be doing it with people. Which, damn. And that's not necessarily an unusual philosophy for a lot of creators in China, so that's kind of a bummer. But the reason that he also was saying that they don't do it with AI is because AI at this point cannot innovate enough to make something that truly is, like in his words, shocking, exciting, new, magical, or in other words, innovative. So you're not going to be getting something that is anything that has any kind of unique plot twists or things like that, because AI is completely homogenized. It doesn't do that very well. And so that allows them to pay their writers actually industry standard, when if you were working on like a budget project like this in other places, you might end up only working, unfortunately, for half the industry rate, you know? So it's like, all in all, it's actually pretty good. So as of right now, this company needs people to be able to function, which is good for us. And so, like, would this be a forever gig for me? Probably not, because as soon as AI gets good enough at writing that you don't need people for those kinds of positions anymore, then you get cut. And that does kind of suck. Not all companies will do this, but a company like this definitely will, in order to cut down on cost and on principle. But for right now, if I get the job, then I get a lot of money, and shit gets like crazy. Yeah, my math last night was right. Fucking crazy. Fucking nuts. Yeah, you do have to work hella fucking fast. So definitely not to say that it's easy. And that, I think, is why people decide that they don't want to... They don't want to, like, commit. You know, it's like... Or it becomes too stressful, which I can definitely understand. So all of a sudden, I had, like, a nice little break when I came back from Greece. And then now all of a sudden it's like, oh, actually I am... dying. But that's okay. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So, that's okay. Alright, let's look up I'm gonna just assign... So there's 64 total images here. I'm gonna just pick some random expressions here. And I'm gonna use my lovely dice. Oh god, I almost threw the fork into the ketchup. Oh, and I need to probably eat this fucking egg bite. God damn, I really don't want it. Okay, so let me see. If I'm gonna be rolling for this, I need... some multiple D10s here. One. I don't even know if I have enough D10s. I don't. That's okay because I have D6s. This is going to make sense. So that's 60. And then I need a D4. Let's do this brown one. Alright, I have literally every dice I could possibly ever want. Go! Okay, so now I have to count a shitload. We're fine. We're fine. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 33. We got 33 to start. I'm going to actually do myself a huge favor and take this. Hold on, take this. And I'm going to just label them out because otherwise I'm going to be in a place of sadness. Because I want to be able to very quickly see which one is which. I wonder why they say hate your brother and hide your gold. I wonder why they... Fucking John. My voice in my dreams. I guess I wouldn't need faith. Sad because this song is explicit. This next one. But I'm going to play it anyway because I want to listen to it. It doesn't go in the playlist, but... at least I can enjoy it. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. This is a very Centaur World face. Okay, this face is not what we're going to be doing. Because that is lewd, and this is a child. Almost there. I don't want to do my fucking office hours today. I feel like shit. Alright, so let's roll for another one because that was ass. Oh, this song is so good. I have to listen to John's new album. I haven't listened to it, and I feel bad. Maybe we'll do that today. 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 42. That's pretty good. Okay, we'll stick with that. Okay, so unfortunately, I feel like I'm looking at this egg bite and it's telling me absolutely not. Oh my god, instant ramen sounds so good. That's what I'm having for lunch, Cal. And you know what? I can probably save this egg bite. I'm going to put it in the fridge. That gives me an idea because I can save this egg bite and throw it into some Nongshin and it will be less shitty. Oh, and I have squid. So I could, like, make some squid real fast. And then somehow that would be less bad, I guess. I'm a kid again. I can do anything. I am a kid again. I can do anything. God damn. John's so good. All right. So now I'm going to bring back my Brady head. So I just need this as a reference for like how this little head is gonna go. Oh my god. It's that one fuck that makes this song explicit. John gave exactly one fuck. Hi Jamie, how's it going? I am a kid again. To your life. If you guys haven't listened to John's work, please do. John Bellion is his name, and he's had a very diverse career. Some of his music is Christian music, but that doesn't mean, I don't think, at least in my mind, it doesn't make him a Christian artist. His shit is like prophetically transcendental is the word that I'm going to use to describe it, but one of my favorite illustrators of all time, David Ardenarius Lajaya, who actually made the game Coral Island, did all of the album artwork for one of his albums. And it is conceptually, oh my god. And I wish that he doesn't have more work here, but if you look up all of his artwork, like, he's done work for several albums, but like, oh my god. So yeah, John, this is the first album that David has not done artwork for John, so I'm kind of sad about that, but oh god, so good. Wow, this is very deep. I'm exhausted, but okay. That's, that seems to be the vibe today. Is like literally all of us are like dying. I don't know how that happens to us, but we are. Okay, so 42 was our pick here. I'm going to... This looks like... It's kind of an unreadable expression to me, but this feels like shock and embarrassment at the same time. So I'm going to actually tilt his head up a little bit. Oh, God, this guy's voice. Oh, and there's Will... Or Pharrell Williams, if I can... Yeah, oh yeah, it is. Pharrell, yeah. I'm not sure what the tone of this album is overall. I'm kind of curious. I don't like this. Because I have to effectively what I call like Jin Kim it. Jin Kim is one of like the most influential, I think, character illustrators for Disney. And he is 99% responsible for a lot of the character concept art that's been put out for Disney over the last couple of years, truly, for like effectively God Tangled onward, I would say. Actually, let me figure out how how do I want this body posed? Because this is fine. Because if I do this, then I need to bring this neck back like this a little bit and move this neck this way, so that way, yeah, there's movement like that. Yep. And then like this, because this chest is going to tilt up. And I don't have to draw the whole... body, but drawing at least like this much is really essential, so we're gonna do that. Hydrate. Oh man, I'm already almost halfway through my monkey bread tea. Can you tell I need the caffeine? Also, everybody sit up nice and straight. Nice and straight. And stretch. We got a whole self-care combo. Let's go, let's go. Let's go! My body is so sore because I've been like, I went to the gym twice in a row, and then I'm going to be doing yoga today and then gym again tomorrow. But I'm so excited because I want to have this. I've been like, I think I mentioned it yesterday, but I'm trying to work on this tabletop RPG that's like a fitness RPG. And I want to have it done as quickly as I can, to be honest. Oh yeah, totally. Well, in this, in particular, this particular project is actually because I want to expand my storyboarding portfolio. So I have to go and apply to a storyboarding position. I'm going to need to actually pull this chin up again. I realized I kind of borked this. But yeah, I'm applying. I want to be able to apply for more storyboard positions, and so this is to buff out my storyboarding portfolio and to also have a piece of kids' work inside my portfolio as well. Gotta look for a bit so I can hop in the shower. Okay, yeah, no, for sure. Thank you for stopping by, Jamie. It's always good to see you, my friend. And then I think we're supposed to meet up on Friday anyway, so I'll see you soon regardless, whether it's like this week or sometime in the future. So I hope you have a good, restful day. A lot of this album is like very chill lounge. I love this. Okay, so it's been a second since I've like looked at Brady's little face. Super chill R&B. I love it. Okay. This is it. I'm gonna actually go like this though, and tilt this a little bit. See, we got bean mouth. This is what I call the ever classic Beanmouth. Yeah, so hopefully this will give me some buffer to be able to actually have, yeah, more diverse work in my portfolio, because I love being able to have the King of Dust stuff in there, but a lot of places, like especially now Jason and I are looking at maybe moving to Vancouver, and a lot of places they are looking for kids animation in Vancouver because they do a lot of TV there, so you know that would not be a bad place for me to go. Oh, I see. Had to reschedule Friday with some stuff going on. Oh, yeah, no worries. Yeah, we'll see you soon. Yeah, I hope you can take it easy a little bit. Okay, now I don't want this kid to end up in a situation where I lose his chin. Because that looks better. Yeah, true. Honestly, though, Jamie, you're not fucking wrong. It's a mess. And I was, like, trying to not totally lose my fucking mind last night when I was, because I was telling Jace that I was maybe going to apply for a job in Vancouver. And he was like, well, how does Vancouver compare to, like, New Zealand? And we were trying to do, like, a pretty, like, realistic compare and contrast of, like, social issues and, you know, cost of living, like, all of that stuff to try and figure out. It's like, okay, well, is it going to be worse, better or worse, to live in a place like Vancouver versus Auckland? And I also did a compare and contrast between, like, Auckland and Vancouver and the United States just broadly, and like looking at everything and seeing how effectively, just like no matter what, it's like looking at the comparison, everyone was like, oh yeah, well, you know, like the cost of living in Vancouver is super high and it might be kind of difficult for you to get your foot in the door, and it's, you know, cost of food is kind of high, like overall it's really like not a great place to live if you're worried about that kind of stuff. And I was like, dang, you know, like it must be really, really high. And then I look at it and it's like it's still cheaper than living in Denver. It's still cheaper. And I'm like, god damn it, you know, like this is like starting to get kind of like ridiculous. It's like to the point where it's like, okay, clearly something has gotten fucked up here. Like, and I knew this already, but like, god damn. And then the funny thing is that like the like website that I was using to like do assessments on the cost of living was like, yeah, so here's some like the symbols were like yellow exclamation point for like needs some work, or like red was like absolutely the fuck not, do not go here for this issue, and then green check mark was like, yes, this is good. And so like for Vancouver versus Auckland, it was like, oh yeah, green check mark for LGBTQ issues for both places, green check mark for you know, like social rights issues for both places. And then it was like, New Zealand gets a yellow check mark for healthcare because it can be kind of slow, but Vancouver gets a green check mark for LGBT healthcare because it's pretty good. And then you look at the fucking US one and it's like red X, yellow triangle, red X, yellow, red. And I'm like, yeah, it's because this place is fucking awful. So like I'm like, I gotta go. No, that's so awesome. Yeah, Jamie, I mean, if you want to just, like, reach out and say hi, just ask them what, like, if they know, like, if you know anybody in Vancouver, just ask them what their general opinion is living there, you know, if, like, they feel like it's a fun place, you know, because Vancouver is Canada's Los Angeles, if that makes sense. They do so much film production. They have loads of film schools. They are very academic. It's just all in all a really cool place to be. But you know, like it would be probably a stepping stone for Jason and I to get out of the country. We'd still want to move to New Zealand eventually, but you know. Tarot reading, single card. Do their jobs actually pay for housing? Overall, their housing costs were about like $200 ish cheaper for rent than in downtown Denver. So if you're living in downtown Vancouver, you're saving about $200 ultimately. So it doesn't seem like it's a bad thing, and especially if you can get in there for school. Like the University of British Columbia has like a 400, or not a 400, good God, a 54% acceptance rate for their bachelor's programs, and they accept US FAFSA. So just saying. But yeah, I think for most people globally, that's why you always have to double check when you're looking at cost of living. It's like a lot of people globally will say that certain places are expensive, but for like people like us who live in Denver, Denver is more expensive to live in than Paris, France, right? So for us, it's not expensive. So kind of interesting though. Hi Agua, how you doing? Welcome in. All right, Jamie, let's get you your card. Queen of Swords reversed. Okay, so whatever is on your mind, that's the most important thing that you're thinking about. Is I think, yeah, I think it's a go ahead. Whatever you're thinking about, this is like a hard like yes, do it, because it's talking a lot about like your specific characteristics and your like who you are as a person. You are loyal, you are independently minded, you are assertive in a good way, and most importantly, just keep in mind that when you're doing these things, it is worth it. You do not need anybody else's approval to do what you're doing, because ultimately you do have not only your best interest in mind, but the best interest of other people around you, if that makes sense. So Sally Forth is effectively that card, Queen of Swords reversed. So don't worry, you got it, you got this, in other words. That does make sense as a stepping stone. I am Canadian, so my opinion is, no, that's totally valid. Yeah, and if you ever want to, like, just let me know what your opinion is, Cal, like, straightforward as, like, a Canadian who lives there, that is ultimately more helpful to Jason and I, too. Because we're going to be, like, going there, you know? And, like, it's tough, because New Zealand is considered the best country in the world for LGBT rights. It either ranks number 1 or number 2 on every single list, which is like insane. So Canada, they still got some issues, like especially with systemic racism. That's going to be like the biggest red flag, at least for me. But if you live in Vancouver, you're probably fine. Like I would not move to Saskatchewan or to Alberta, for example, because that's effectively just moving to Texas. Like I don't know why I would do that to myself. Hi Ava, I'm doing okay. I'm very tired. How are you? Ended up having to redo some work on this sheet, but not bad. It could have been worse. Could have been worse. Actually. Okay. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of this John album as much as I am of his other work. Let me get to the computer so I can talk. Valid, valid. I am so sorry you're so sick. That's the worst. Okay, 3 card spread for some clarification. Absolutely. Yes, indeedy. I can gladly do that. I don't want to do my office hours today. I want to tell my kids to just go home. I had a student fucking write their entire assignment with AI this week, and so I'm like, I just don't want to deal. All right, let's see. All right, so three inverted cards. That's the fourth one. So in terms of things that have led up to this point, it's a lot of emotionally charged stuff. So that being said, you feel like this is definitely a burnout card. I got Six of Cards or Six of Cups inverted, so that's like if you are a well, you've been pouring a lot out of your well. Is effectively what this is saying. The way to balance that is to refill your cup, right? That's kind of what you've been doing. Is you've been pouring out a lot, but you've been trying to balance it by like spending time with like friends, making new friends, making connections in community, like all of those things. So that's been kind of like the overall vibe. As of right now, you're very eager to like get things done and fix things if you can, which is not a bad thing at all. This is Knight of Swords reversed. But there are assholes everywhere, is just the general vibe. And you're doing everything that you can right now. You are dealing with them appropriately. You are dealing with them openly, boldly. And you're not letting anybody else's opinion of you block your thinking, cloud your judgment, which is good. But that, it depends on, like, overall, if you want to take up that position, if you want to be that knight, so to speak. Like, this is kind of the position you put yourself in. But, like the previous card suggests, it can be very emotionally exhausting to effectively do that for everybody. So that being said, the third card that I drew is King of Wands reversed. Let me see here. So that being said, the biggest thing for you to remember going forward is that you should, for sure, even though you can stay doing what you're doing is effectively what this is saying, but like keeping in mind that you should absolutely stay firm within your ethical boundaries, and also to protecting yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, etc. Because if Wands is good at anything, it's building fortresses. So setting those firm boundaries for yourself and setting those firm boundaries with other people will prevent somebody from walking all over you. Which is good, whether they intend to or not, because not everybody's like ill-meaning in that sense. It could just be like people are desperately in need of help and they need that knight. But right now you have to be an elephant, if that makes sense, instead of an eagle. So taking your time, being a big presence, but not necessarily, being super quick to act. You can fight and kick and run things over if you want to, but taking things slower might be it for the best. Don't be too aggressive with everything is the overall vibe. So figuring out a way where you don't have to completely compromise your situation here, but like figuring out a way to effectively shape your approach, change the way that you're going about doing things, could potentially help alleviate some of that like empty cup feeling, that empty well feeling, if that makes sense. Also, welcome back from Fortnite, Aqua. I hope you won. Or, at the very minimum, just destroyed people. Or, at the very, very minimum, had fun. I got third. Kids are... damn kids! Start with racism, because that's something major. BC Vancouver is the best place that you could go. As you said, basically LA of Canada. Yep, significant Asian population. From what I could find, Cal, there are more Asian people than there are white people. So that's fucking sweet. Like, that's pretty good. It's mostly Chinese people, though, from what I could tell. Because I also was wondering the demographics on that one. So that's definitely something that I noticed as well. Oh yeah, no, we baby white. No, you're right though. No, all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is why I refuse to move out of Koreatown in Denver. I will not fucking move because I'm at like Iliff and Parker, and I'm like, if I'm not around African and like East Asian people, I'm gonna cry. So I literally refuse. I refuse. Right, and so if you can, and if you think that Denver is white, Colorado Springs and other places are so much worse. Holy shit. Well, the US as a whole is just really fucking white. Like so white. And you wonder why we have these problems. Because people are they try to say that we're diverse and that, we should be pushing towards diversity, which is great. And yes, we should, but then also too, people forget that it's like, well, your idea of diversity living in your white little suburban neighborhood with your one black friend that's not diversity. That's being around your one black friend. And that's good. It's a good start, but like that's not diversity. It's not diversity until you go to a place like Arlington, Virginia or something. Which by the way is one of my favorite places I've ever been. Washington D.C., for example. Holy shit, talk about diverse. New York City, damn. I'm glad it was helpful, Jamie. People get shooketh when other races exist in America. Well, and it's because, like, the banana statistic is that most people do not move 5 miles away from their original hometown in the United States, believe it or not. So, effectively, the majority of Americans, white Americans in particular, just, they don't know that other people exist. It's like, oh, you guys are trapped in one specific place. And that is kind of unfortunate. It just is what it is. And some people can't afford to move, so I definitely don't blame anybody for that. But if you have the ability to get out and experience new shit, you definitely should, because it will ultimately just help you, broaden your perspective a little bit. But yeah, a lot of it, to be quite frank, is poverty. So you think about, like, say you have somebody who lives, for example, in like rural Alabama. It's not necessarily that they don't want to move, it's just that they physically can't move. Like, they're literally like super poor. So it's like, where are they supposed to scrounge up that money? It kind of becomes a pipe dream at that point, and they become contented with staying in their own little town, and then they don't understand that, things function very differently outside of that town, because not only have they not left the country, they haven't even left their own city. Or in some cases, again, their own town, because they're not even like big enough to be cities, really. And we run into that problem a lot here in Colorado too. Definitely not saying that it just affects like southern states as well, because I think about places like Granby, Rifle, those kinds of places here in Colorado where that does tend to be the case. And unless you have like a military population, like Colorado Springs does, it's a little bit better, but not often. Oh yeah, Aqua, it sounds like you live in a good spot. Yeah, you start to get to North Colorado Springs, that shit gets weird up there, dude. Because I was up by the Air Force Academy, and you'd think that it'd be better up there, but it wasn't somehow. Like, so weird. Oh my god, Lyman. yeah, Lyman, that's one of those places, too. I had family out in Falcon, so it's like that was kind of one of those places as well when I was a kid, was Falcon. So... And some people are comfortable with that, and that's fine, but they also have to, like, recognize, too, that it's like there's other stuff going outside of that, you know what I'm saying? Colorado was considered, yes, it was called the hate state. Yes, Jamie, you're 100% right. Yes. And then also, too, we have to deal with a lot of, like, organizations like Focus on the Family as well that drive that reputation. Totally. I don't have much exposures to other cultures. What draws you to Black and Asian cultures so much? So for me, I find that at least, I guess, one, I'm very fortunate to be married to an Asian man, so that's like part of my bias, particularly Pacific Islander, Asian and Pacific Islander, although, like, the Pacific Islanders don't want to claim Filipinos as Pacific Islander, even though they are literally an island in the Pacific. I'm not really sure what happened there. But then the East Asians don't want to claim Filipinos because they are, quote, too brown. So there's a bunch of colorism that happens in the Filipino community, which is really shitty. But I consider them definitely Pacific Islander and East Asian both. They're kind of a fusion culture in that way. For me, I think the overall benefit, like I spent, I think, most of my high school around South Asians, and so this is probably what did it for me. Like I spent most of my best years of high school with a bunch of Indian kids, which was awesome, from all over India, both North and South India, and their family structures and the way that they receive people was always with an open heart and an open mind. I did not once run into any issues where people were judgmental for things that they didn't understand, and that could have been just the people that I was around. I might have just gotten really, really lucky, but like, all in all, like, if I had questions about stuff, I could ask them. And like one of the dads that was one of the coolest people that I've ever been around, and he is the whole reason that I self-published my first book, wrote a bunch of books on Buddhism. And so he was just a wealth of knowledge, and being able to see that there were other religions and other ways of thinking about people around you that weren't just hateful was mind-blowing to me, because I went from effectively a conservative Christian evangelical middle school to a school where all of a sudden it was like, oh wow, I'm around all of these people who do not practice Christianity. Like that's just a thing. Or if they do, they practice it from like a Buddhist mindset because they themselves are Asian, which is really cool. So they have a different way of thinking about a lot of different issues. And then also too, culturally, they tend to not be like, I guess the kids that I was around, if they see something that disagrees with what they believe, they tend to keep that into their own family. So does that result in a bunch of problems with their own family? Yes. So definitely not to say that you don't have weird interpersonal family dynamics there. Like, again, for example, if you have like a kid who's like, I'm gay, you know, that in an Indian household might cause a bunch of issues in a more conservative Indian household. So not to say that that doesn't apply to them or affect them. But for me, I didn't run into that nearly as much. And then, you know, even looking at Jace's family, like there are a shitload of queer people in Southeast Asia in particular. Like I think about the ladyboy phenomenon in Thailand. Ladyboys are incredibly popular, and those are effectively gay boys who cross-dress. That's just kind of the vibe there. So all in all, that acceptance of LGBTQ stuff is typically way better. Like Taiwan has great reputation with LGBT issues. Thailand does as well. They do like lesbian underwater weddings over there. Other places are not so great, like China, and the Philippines has had issues because of colonization because of that. But like each culture kind of has its own issues with that. My dad got hit up by a ladyboy. True though. I love how I thought it was a slur. It's not a slur. That's just genuinely what that is called. There's like ladyboy bars and things like that. So no, true though. You never know. The cross-dressing scene and the drag scene in Southeast Asia is insane. It's very, very cool. So that's definitely from like the Asian side. Also too, I think their food is better. That's just from like a critical standpoint. White people food, high-key kind of sucks. So that was very influential, at least for me in my own youth, was being around people who just made kick-ass food and were very nourishing to be around. But then also too, like I find that African households, they have a lot of the similar approaches where everyone is family. And so like there's this place I would highly recommend if you live in Colorado and you're in Colorado Springs, you ever get a chance to go to. It's called Uchenna. It's down it's down in downtown. It's like off of Tejon. but I would say it's Maya who runs it, the little old lady, the little old Ethiopian lady who runs it. She treats everyone like they are family. And I knew that in Colorado Springs, when I was having my worst days ever, I could go into that restaurant and that woman first would feed me some of the best fucking food I've ever had in my whole life, but also would treat me with dignity in such a way that, like, even after I came out as trans, she knew. She didn't say anything, but I know she recognized me because I have the same last name and it's a pretty unique last name. And I came in there, I was going in there often, and she never once made it a problem, you know? And so it was just, it's a different, I guess, way of approaching people. And there's that, you know? So long story short, I've had better, more welcoming experiences with folks of many other cultures, definitely not just like Asian and Black communities, but like pretty much everybody outside of the white sphere. And I just happen to be very lucky to live in Aurora around a bunch of like Yemeni and Lebanese and Ethiopian people, especially here, as well as Korean and Chinese people and Japanese people as well, but not nearly as many as the Korean population. So that shaped my perception of certain communities, if that makes sense. So sorry, that was the most long-winded fucking answer of all time. Okay, so scrolling back out, let me look at this shit. But yeah, everybody's just super fucking nice. Like, I guess as one final anecdote, I've never really been in any other situations at like white restaurants, for example, where the owner will come over. Like the last time I was at one of my favorite Suun Tofu places, which is Korean owned, the owner came over and she realized that like one of the dishes that came out, it was like a fried tofu dish. She was like, "Oh, I should just cut this for you." And she literally came over to our table with scissors and just cut our tofu because she wanted us to have an easier time to eat it. Like she was like treating me like I was her nephew, like I was her kid. And that shit just doesn't happen anywhere else. And it's like that level of magic that I can't really describe. Or like sitting on an all-black bus in Arlington, Virginia, everybody, the whole community is family. Everybody respects and listens to each other. When grandma says shut the fuck up on the bus, the young kids listen, you know, and like that just doesn't happen in white communities. It's a very different feeling, and unless you've sat in it, it's kind of hard to describe. But it is a pretty major cultural difference, I would say. So expenses in British Columbia, Vancouver, this is one of those things, places with more people, the higher price tags. However, it has one of the highest minimum wages in the country at $17.85. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's kind of where Denver's minimum wage is right now. It's like $18.81, I think. So that reflects at the very minimum cost of living to hourly wage. Like that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, where I am at in Aurora is super problematic because of the base. Yeah, I feel like there's been a pretty dramatic shift in like military culture over the last like 2 decades, I think. Uh, being more leaning more hateful than it was when I was a kid, which is really shitty. Aurora scares me. I've actually lived in Aurora for the last, oh god, let's see, 8 years, I think. I love it here. I would not change a single thing. I literally live on the border between Denver and Aurora. Like, I'm not even joking. If I walk 2 minutes down the street, I'm in Aurora. And if I walk 2 minutes the other direction, I'm in Denver. Aurora is massive. And so depending on where you live, changes pretty dramatically what goes on in the area. But I do think that I love Aurora. I would not live anywhere else in Denver proper than over in Aurora, personally. You go too far north and you hit Colfax and that shit gets scary. But then Jamie's right, though. You go too far south and you end up running into even scarier people for other reasons, which is not good. So we don't like that. Okay, I'll chill out until the ad break is done. But yeah, it's I'm very blessed, very, very blessed to live where I do. But thank you for the information, Cal. It's like super, super helpful. It definitely, like, thankfully for me, it's like, it seems like it's a bunch of stuff that I already picked up from like Reddit and other forums and like people who actually live in Vancouver. So thankfully it's not necessarily something or things that I didn't know, but it is helpful. I appreciate that a lot. All right. Everybody, sit up straight. Oh, do we got a self-care combo? Oh, we got a self-care combo. Sit up straight, stretch. Okay, so I think we're out of ads. So let me see. I hate white people food except for my smoked meat. Yeah, see, and I feel bad because other cultures do smoked meat better. I hate to be that guy. Barbecue is good though sometimes. It hits. But like other places do smoked meat too, and like it's not the same. How would you describe my visibility? Are you asking in regardless to like if you look like a minority? Is that what you're asking, Jamie? When I went to Italy, there was something interesting about the culture. It was hard to get the check because when a group of people, yeah, with a good vibe, they don't really want them to leave. Oh yeah, when I was in Greece, same thing. You literally have to flag the waiter down, but that's pretty normal for like the majority of Europe, I would say. Even when I was in Sweden, it was the same way. They just are very polite and they do not want you to leave. Like, because we were there at restaurants for 2-3 hours every night. But yeah, that was the same thing in Sweden too. Everybody was very, very kind. And also too, in Sweden, it was very personable. The people who were making the food owned the restaurants. Everything was very small. And so they'd come by, they'd talk to you. They want to know what you think about the food, what you like about the country. You know, it's like, they actually cared. But I agree. It was a lot slower of an experience. And I can say like a lot of like, I've had most experience with North African cultures. So again, like that's like Ethiopia, and I think the other country is Eritrea. Let me look that up and make sure I'm saying that right. Yeah, Eritrea or Eritrea. They're very close to each other, so I have more experience there. And with also like West Asian foods, that's going to be like Iraq, Iran, Pakistan, those kinds of places. But they're incredibly hospitable people. They're really, really nice. Really nice. I totally agree with Aqua that wages need to be higher. Everything is fucking bananas. I don't understand. My white people smoke meat is better. Not the whole, you're like, I'm throwing literally every other family under the bus. You're like, I'm sorry, guys. You just like check them off the canyon. You're like, see you later. I live on the other side of the country on the East Coast, so most of the stuff is just things I've learned about the West Coast. No, that's valid though. Yeah, still though, it's like if you had somebody here who lived in like Maine and they were talking about California. You know what I mean? It's still good information to have. Yeah, I guess Jamie, I might need clarification on your question because I'm not sure what you're asking, if that makes sense. But yeah. I think what I like about, if I had to like sum up what I like about living in this area the most, is the fact that there are places here where people, not everybody thinks the same. You're going to go to different places and everybody is going to have a different opinion or philosophy on something, but not necessarily in an antagonistic way, if that makes sense. Oh, can you clock Jamie as trans? Yes. But I would also argue that you can clock me as trans as well. Or people just think I'm a butch lesbian. That's just kind of unfortunately the way that goes for me. I've gone to other families' barbecue and stuff, and it tastes like dog food. That's always the way that it goes. You're like, clearly we are the elite in this family. Like, I'm so sorry, though. Yeah, my whole white family can't cook for shit. No. I've had to, like, struggle to reclaim my own, like, Mexican identity and my indigenous American identity because my abuelo and, like, my great-grandma on that side, like, I barely knew my great uncle Rodolfo. I didn't know any of my cousins or my Theos or Theas. I didn't have any connection to that. But like, I've had to literally claw tooth and nail to like get recipes and make good food because like I love my mother, I really do, and some of the things that she makes are really really good, but like some of it is just like a lot of it is just like shake and bake white people food, and that's okay. It's just it is what it is. I'm definitely, if I had the choice to go over to my mother-in-law's house or my mom's house for dinner, I'm picking my mother-in-law. I'm going over for the Filipino food. True. Oh, I see. More given the kind of work I do and how public I am. Like, and that's tough. That's a tough question to ask me, Jamie, because I have not been paying a lot of attention to local trans news. Not because I want to stay disconnected from it, but because I physically don't have the spoons to view it. So I can't say necessarily accurately with, like, what the public perception of your visibility is in that particular way, like how visible you are in that sense. But just based on the sheer amount of work you do, you are out on the street a lot doing activism, so I can only imagine that it's like, the answer to that would definitely be yes. I'm upset. I feel like my stomach and sense of taste is becoming more delicate over time. Like Skittles are too sweet and I need to water my juice down. I scream. No, see? Now the question is do you have white people's stomach or are you just sick of sugar? Because Americans put sugar in fucking everything. And when you go overseas, you notice that way more. It becomes a completely different taste bud experience where you're like, oh, actually this shouldn't taste like this. Because there's too much fucking sugar in it. So, just saying. Yeah, Skittles are like, literally they make my teeth hurt. No fucking joke. No joke. Yes. So there's an actual reason. There's science behind why that happens to you. One is that the EU has much more rigorous food standards than we do in the United States. And so therefore, effectively, when you go to restaurants, it's not necessarily that you're eating organic, but it is not an uncommon experience for people to, I'm not even shitting you, move to Europe and say they eat Tostino's pizza rolls here in the US. They go to Europe, they eat the European equivalent of Tostino's pizza rolls over there. And they lose weight. So they're eating the exact same food. So it's not even like they stopped eating that and they switched to vegetables or some shit. They're eating the exact same food and they still lose weight. And the answer is one, stress probably, but two, quality of ingredients. And so, for example, my ex-boyfriend was, he had celiac disease, so he couldn't eat wheat. He was able to eat rye bread in Sweden, which should not be possible. That should not be a thing that he should be able to do. But he was able to eat a very small amount of it, and he did not get sick. So it's a testament definitely to their quality of ingredients in that sense, which is nuts. So long story short, our food here sucks, and it's wildly unregulated. And there are certain things that are fun and good to eat. You know, it's like, it's kind of fun to have like trashy American food every once in a while. But like, even McDonald's in Greece was better. You know, you go to other places and it's like, oh, this is not a good place to be. Yes, your gut biome can reset itself in 2 weeks. I've talked about this a couple of times, but I did this cleanse for my boyfriend when we were together at the time called the Colorado Cleanse. Let me see if I can find the website because the guy guaranteed. He still has his thing. Yep, John Duyard. Here he is. Colorado Ayurvedic Cleanse. So this is an Ayurvedic-based, like, fasting cleanse, effectively. But what this is they call it an elimination diet. So you start to eliminate certain foods from your diet here in the U.S. in an attempt to forcibly reset your gut biome. It's only 2 weeks long, and this shit, I shit you not, completely rewrote my entire gut biome. I cut a sugar addiction doing that. And that was really why my boyfriend wanted to do it, is because he was unfortunately suspecting that he had been getting cross-contaminated by gluten a shitload. And so he just needed to get it out of his system. And that was the way that we did that. But that also allowed me to not have to deal with like bread cravings or things like that as bad. And all in all, would I like do it again? Probably not. But and going to Europe will do the same thing. But yes, you can reset your gut biome in like 2 weeks if you just eat the correct foods to do so. It's not unusual for that. There's actual science behind that for sure. The McDonald's in Rome was peak. Yeah, you're like, I can't go back. The fries just hit different. Now, granted, I had kind of trashy Santorini, like, I would call it Santorini French fries. They just were what they were, you know, but they were still better. To be fair, Greece did not have any cool, fun, like, McDonald's items that crazy. They were just, like, they were okay. It's nice to not wake up in agony every morning, right? Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right for sure, Jamie, though. I had a friend who got their car keyed in Colorado Springs for being gay, you know, so not much has changed, which is really shitty. Did you know that in McDonald's Italy they have espresso shots? Yes, in McDonald's Greece, the most popular like iced coffee drink there was a Freddo cappuccino, and they had Freddo cappuccino at pretty much every fucking restaurant, including McDonald's, and it was fucking sweet. Freddo cappuccino is love, Freddo cappuccino is life. Also, I can drink coffee in Europe, and I don't get fucked up like I do here, so that makes me really sad. Like, I shit you not, I was drinking coffee every single day in Greece, and I didn't have any fucking problems, and then I come back here and I can't drink coffee, and it makes me so mad. So angry. Okay, let's look at 38. Is this a scary one? Oh no, this is good. Makes me want to play the cappuccino song. Hold on, where is it? It's Espresso Macchiato by Tommy Cash. He was in Eurovision this year. We'll listen to the coffee song. This guy's Italian as well. Or no, Estonian, pardon me. Mi amore, espresso macchiato, 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 por favore. It's fucking so catchy. Okay, I want to have him like looking over his shoulder a little bit. I'm gonna kind of turn this. Yeah, Tommy's great. He's definitely a big personality. I don't listen to this song often, but it's good. No need to be depresso. Espresso macchiato, 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 por favore. The dance for this is legendary. I love how he made a dance tutorial. This is the dance. He's just, I don't know, he's got legs. He's got legs. I don't know. That's all I have to say is just... Oh, it's so fast. There he goes. Woo! Go, buddy, go. I don't know. He's so funny, though. I just love how a lot of the Eurovision contestants, they don't really take themselves super seriously, you know? It's like, it's just like, They're just there to have fun, and I love that. I feel like this is a lot of Brady being shook at stuff. Just shocked. It's fine. He's having the time of his life. Oh, a cover. Is this a cover? Yeah, it is. Gillian Welch. That's what I thought. Yeah, this is a cover. Cool. Yeah. Nice. I've never heard this cover. Oh, yeah. No loitering laws are super fucked up. 100%. Alright, let's see. I love drawing Brady. Well, let me make sure. It's a little bit further down. Move this down a little bit. Just a little. He's so cute. Oh my god. He's so good. I love this stupid kid. This kid. You want to know what's crazy, you? So there used to be these things called ugly laws. And that's kind of where we get our no loitering laws from historically. And effectively in the Victorian period, it didn't matter if you were in England or here in the US. So that would have been like the antebellum period here in the United States. But they wanted to make it illegal effectively for anybody that looked like, quote, undesirable or ugly from being on the street. And so that included homeless people, dirty people, and also, most importantly, disabled people. And so you could potentially get arrested if you were disabled and you were on the street. And that didn't even mean like you're sitting and begging, right? So like say, for example, in like the US, you have like a Civil War veteran who is maybe he got his legs blown off by a cannon or something, right? Like pretty standard for Civil War. And he's begging on the side of the road. We're not even talking about that. We're talking about like you have your Civil War veteran uncle and he's on crutches. He only has one leg. So he's got maybe his pant leg tied up, but he's dressed nicely. He's presentable because he's holding down a job somewhere doing whatever. He could get arrested just for walking down the street in some places simply because he is disabled, and he's effectively being told to stay inside, not go outside, because people were so upset by the reminder that the Civil War even happened that they'd rather not see a person than acknowledge that something really terrible had happened. So some of those laws are still in effect today, and that kind of evolved into being our no loitering laws effectively in the modern era. So really messed up. But England had a massive problem with like what I would call houseless people or destitute people, and that resulted in a lot of these really shitty laws getting passed over there. And then once they did it, then everybody over here was like, oh, that's a good idea. And then Yes. Yeah, Jamie, you're 100% right. Yep. It's rough. If anybody at any point is uncomfortable by about politics conversations, let us know, because that's totally valid, and if we need to switch conversations, that is a-okay, and nobody is going to make you feel weird about it. Everything is chill. Because these conversations can be unfun. Let's talk about pizza. I actually got an ad from Papa John's the other day because apparently they have a new garlic one-topping pizza that's literally just 5 types of cheese and garlic. And I was like, don't sing to me your siren song. I like American pizza more than Italian pizza. That's a valid take. That's a valid take. It's definitely a different experience overall. It is not the same. It is different. Oh my god, he's so cute. Him and his little hat. I feel like Italian pizza has better toppings and fresher tasting, but I think American pizza has that kind of trash. That, like, if I want trash, that's where I'm going. Is directly to American pizza. Oh, that's valid though. That's valid. Yeah, I need American box pizza with chlorine on it. It's like, yeah, it's the ode to pool party. It's true. That has a specific nostalgia to it. It's like, it's a really weird sensory experience. Very specific there. I do love it. Ain't bad for sure. God, this kid is adorable. I need to do like 10 of these though. There's not as much cheese on Italian pizza. You are right though. Yeah, they're focused more on their like the sauce and the toppings. Okay, bye Jamie. Margherita! Yeah, true. Yeah, I feel like we do margarita pizzas here a lot as well, but then they end up being more cheesy. My favorite pizza of all time is from this place up here in Denver called Slice Works. And it is in the most janky place on the whole fucking planet. Because Colfax is terrifying. But the pizza itself is a Colorado-style pizza on a New York slice. So it's a New York-style slice, but it's got jalapenos, cream cheese, and grape jelly on it. With pizza sauce and mozzarella cheese. And it sounds fucking crazy, but that shit is cracked. Denver stole my pizza food truck. Oh god, I'm so sorry. Yeah, honestly, when I was living in Colorado Springs, the lesson that I learned really is that, unfortunately, Colorado Springs is where food goes to die. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, restaurants will open and they will last probably 3 to 6 months and then immediately close. That is literally always super sad, though. I'm not even joking. When we got stuck down there, Jason and I, during COVID, we had, there were so many restaurants that were just, like, amazing as soon as we moved down there. And then it was, like, within a year that we had lived down there, they all closed. Not because of COVID, just because they, like, were run by a bunch of old people and they couldn't stay open anymore. Yeah, you only see, like, 3 small restaurants. Yes. And then the big restaurants that do manage to stay open are ass. They're just, like, actually really bad. So bad. Yeah, and that's rough. People effectively, like, what I find truly is that what happens, especially in the Asian community in Colorado Springs, and this is not their fault at all, but they have to chase what's trendy among white people, otherwise they can't stay open. So, like, there's this place that's near my parents' house that's been open for forever, and they used to just serve Cantonese food, like when I was a kid, and their food is really good. Their Cantonese food, it's super, super good. But because Cantonese and Chinese food is not popular, they have had to start serving sushi, and that shit's sketch as fuck. I would not trust those people to serve sushi if my life depended on it. It is so scary. Like, we're talking like food hazard. So scary. So, point being, though, is that that's not the kind of food that they specialize because they're not Japanese. They're not even Chinese. They're Cantonese. Or at least they're not, like, Central Chinese. Like, Canton's still a part of China. But, like, that's not what they do. You know? And it's, like, it's really sad that they effectively have been forced to do something that they don't specialize in simply because the white demographic in Colorado Springs is not knowledgeable enough to understand that Vietnamese people and Chinese people are not the same. And mainland Chinese and Cantonese people, like Canton is a completely different place with a completely different ethnic group. Like, it's just, they don't know. I can tell you, as somebody who ate a shitload of pho in Colorado Springs, it has way more than 5 pho places. Colorado Springs has a metric fuckload of pho, and that's predominantly actually because of the large Vietnamese population that does live in Colorado Springs. There are more Vietnamese people in Colorado Springs than Chinese people, so that is kind of why that ends up that way. But that being said, there's a fuckload of them. I'm definitely not arguing with you on that one because you're right. It's a shitload. If you want the best pho in Colorado Springs, it's in a super fucking sketchy area. It's on South Nevada, but it's called Pho Sister. The last time I was in that parking lot, it was before it was Pho Sister. It was called Pho Brother because they sold it to the sister and the family, so it's still owned by the same people. But I left that place, and then there was an entire fucking factory building just on fire. And that was great. Everything was just burning. But yeah, Pho Sister, in my opinion, is hands down actually some of the best pho I've personally ever had. So it's like, it makes me sad that I'm not closer to it because as soon as somebody busts out homemade spicy tamarind paste for your pho, it's kind of a non-issue in my opinion. Yes, I agree. The people who run that place they're amazing. Well, and it's also one of the only places I've ever seen in Colorado Springs, furthermore, where a homeless person has come inside and they gave the guy water. They made sure he had what he needed. You know, like, he clearly was not doing very good. They did end up calling the cops because he was like, he really clearly needed a place to go. It wasn't because he was causing issues, but, you know, they weren't assholes, you know, so it's like they are really kind people. Really, really kind. We don't have a replaceable pho place like that up here. Definitely, hands down, best pho experience. Right? Basic human kindness? What? In the year of 2025? Fucking nah. Nah. Who does that? Lies. What is that? Oh, I forgot to, like, color in Brady's, like, hair. I don't want to do this office hours, y'all. I have to go in, like, 20 minutes, and it's like, it feels like pulling teeth. Oh, boy. I have so much other work to do. Brady's the best. The Brady books are what you should read if you feel super depressed about the world and you need a little pick-me-up for a second. That's these books. By the way. If you're uber sad. These books also have bisexual, sapphic, and gay representation in them. It also has disability rep. And obviously like POC rep, because Brady and like half of his family, they're black, so that's cool. And Jewish rep. Helen is Jewish. Sapphic is lesbian. Sappho was an ancient Greek writer. She was the first writer in the West, anyway, who wrote a lot of lesbian poetry. And so sapphic is the word used to describe any kind of lesbian-focused art. But you can be sapphic and not necessarily be a woman. You could be a sapphic non-binary person, for example, if you're feminine presenting or if you like women. It's just another, like, identity in the LGBTQIA, like, sphere. It's like saying homosexual versus saying gay. Or, like, again, in this case, saying sapphic instead of lesbian. It's just a broader description of somebody. That's not necessarily tied to being a woman, if that makes sense. Although Liz is, she identifies as a cis woman, so. More queer, like, authors are using the term sapphic to describe their work nowadays, just because it's more inclusive. Yeah, and it's like, again, Sappho's been, I mean, obviously, God, when was Sappho writing? Thousands of years ago? Let me see, She was an ancient Greek poet from Eresos or Lesbos, right? She was from Lesbos. That's where we get our word lesbian from, is from Sappho, because she lived on the island of Lesbos, if that makes sense. But she was one of the highest regarded female poets pretty much of all ancient Greek time, and she lived from 630 BC to 570 BC. She was known for writing lyric poetry, which was often sung and accompanied by music. She was often called the 10th Muse because she was literally so good. She wrote a lot of iambic poetry and was overall very fucking cool. But yeah, that's where we get our word lesbian from and our word sapphic from, which is pretty sweet. But honestly, the vernacular changes all the time, definitely. Yeah, and I don't cover a lot of LGBT issues in the Brady books, I guess, to clarify, but, like, I don't exclude, like, I recognize that the characters are LGBT. They just don't talk about it. Like, Uncle Rollo dates a girl or goes on dates with a woman in the series, but, like, he also dated her brother, so, like, because he's fucking messy. I took an LGBT studies class for the summer. It was condensed, but it's been very good. Yes, it can be overwhelming to try and stick literally the entirety of queer history into, like, one college course, too. Like, there's definitely a reason gender studies is a thing, because you can get, like, entire degrees in them. It's just really cool. It's some cool shit. I want to make more long format videos on, like, I recorded one on Frankenstein's monster as a trans allegory, but I released a video that was, like, relatively popular on my YouTube for, like, long format that was about the gay history of vampires, if you're interested in that one too. Most universities are going to have gender study. They're often called gender studies classes. At many universities. So if you're looking for them, you might not be looking for, like, LGBT studies, but gender studies instead. And that covers some LGBT issues, but it also covers women's issues as well, typically. So it's like, it kind of depends on the course and the person who wrote it. And it also depends on if you have a queer person teaching the class or not. Like, for example, my History of American Illustration class was taught by a non-binary comic artist. And they put in way more LGBT history into that class simply because that was their prerogative, was to talk about gay artists in the United States because they themselves were gay. So that was like really beneficial for me to be able to find like really cool artists that I can relate to in that way, which is pretty cool. Oh, and theology, gender studies, that's got to be pretty interesting too. I wonder from like which theological standpoint. Like, if the class doesn't talk about Joseph and his trans-ass Technicolor Dreamcoat. Learning about the AIDS epidemic was wild. Yeah, it's that whole period is both wildly sad and incredibly inspiring because the people who survived it are insane. If you're looking for a good fiction book to read that covers LGBT issues, there's a book called Ziggy Stardust and Me. I started it and then didn't finish it because I was like majorly depresso about LGBT issues at the time, but it's a young adult fiction and I believe it's a romance about a young teen living through the AIDS epidemic, and what it was like to grow up, I believe, on the East Coast during that time. But it's very well written and really, really good. Oh my god, Blackberry Dr. Pepper shake. That sounds ridiculous, but in a good way. That's crazy. That's some crazy talk. Yes, history is prone to being misinterpreted or told in certain ways to fix the narratives of whomever is telling it. Yes, the terminology that refers to is called iconoclast. And that's typically where people of a specific group intentionally either destroy certain things or particularly art to rewrite history. And that's particularly dangerous. Now they're just making it with the BlackBerry. I love that, though. I don't think I'm going to have time to get through this expression, but we're going to try. At least if I can get through the sketch, that'll be good. I feel like I spent so much of stream redrawing that thing got deleted. So lame. Okay, let's see. Oh my god, the T-cart stuff. Okay, let's see. Ooh, you're getting all sorts of shit. Sir, you have a Daryl tea? You have an Amaret tea? I need answers. Okay, Black Jasmine song, good choice. I forget that you like the orange and vanilla. And then Formosa Oolong. Oh, and a little teapot. Look at that. You'll have to let me know how their iced oolong pouches are. I love that they're giving it as a free sample. Let me know. Let me know what you think about that. I made it myself. I love that. It's okay. As somebody who was once in high school, being an adult is significantly better than being in high school. I promise you that. And being in your 30s is significantly better and easier than being in your 20s. I can also say that too. It does get better. It's not as scary as you think, and also, too, there's so much freedom that comes with it as well. It's like taking a breath of fresh air. Oh, yeah. No, you're good. So you got a lot of time to, pardon my French, to fuck up, because that's literally what your 20s are for, is, like, screaming, to be honest. Yeah, there are some historical accounts. Many news media only covered gay white men. Yes, you're right. Yep. And history tends to forget the massive effect that women had on activism. That is also very true, especially trans women. Yep, that's true. Yeah, college itself is very fun, especially because for the first time you get to like actually enjoy studying what you want. You know what I mean? Yep, true. I'm a fucking crazy person and I just like plowed through college, so I can't say anything about that. I just screamed, and that's what I did. Yeah, that's kind of what's beautiful, I think, about honestly coming out now. Like, even a decade ago, like when I was in high school, like nobody fucking talked about this shit. Like, literally nobody talked about it. So you were just kind of on your own. Um, like, when I'm like thinking about it, and like in high school, I had one gay friend. He was like the only one. And we knew that he wasn't the only gay guy. And like so many of my friends came out after we got out of high school because it was like, oh, that duh, you know. I was like, yeah, I didn't realize that that's what was going on, and so a lot of people figured their stuff out, I think, later. um but there's like, I knew one lesbian girl, and like granted I went to a school with like 400 students at it, you know, but like that's not a very big population, and I feel like it's so inspiring going onto the internet and literally every person you talk to is like, yeah, I'm on the non-binary spectrum, or I use these pronouns, or I am a part of the LGBTQ community in some way, I'm asexual, I'm agender. It's like, oh wow, this is like crazy to be able to actually like talk to people about stuff and not feel so isolated. So that is insanely cool, and it's really nice to have that level of support from young people, younger people. Seeing like young Gen Z kick absolute ass is like the most inspiring thing ever. Like, it's just so cool. All right, let me see. Okay, Wulong Black, Rose Petal, Almond, Strawberry. It's that Valentine's. I love Valentine's. That's in my Darius tea. Chocolate, cocoa nibs, strawberry. Yeah, so it's giving chocolate covered strawberry macaron because of the almond. That's so nice. It's so nice. Oh, Aqua, that is so kind. That is really, really kind. Yeah, and thankfully, you know, knowing people like Jamie, who has, like they mentioned earlier, that they're like a massive LGBT activist, things like that. You know, it's like being able to have resources and give people access to community is just huge. The gay guy I had a crush on I was very embarrassed. I told him I had a crush on him because I thought his rainbow bracelet, oh, was just because he liked it. Rip. No. No, the egg cracking moments for me in high school were rough because like there were several moments where I had people approach me as like a youth, and they were like, "Oh, I I don't know why I like you, because normally I don't like girls, I only like guys." And then they were like very fucking confused, and I was like, "Joke's on you!" Like now, like fucking a decade later. Ugh. I was like, plot twist. Oh, I was going for a French cookie. Yeah, it definitely gives that vibe. I love that. And I'm sure it actually, like, if you were to eat that with macarons, I'm sure it would be amazing. I love whatever this mouth is doing. It's like... Hydrate and sit up, y'all. And stretch. We got a self-care combo. Let's go. Everybody, realign your spine. Also, welcome back. Jamie, welcome back. I think I said... Did I say that? I don't know if I said that in my brain and then just didn't say it out loud. But you know what? If I said it twice, then that's the way. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Let's see. Ear. Okay, I guess I probably should go. Now that I've got the majority of this expression in. Ugh, gross. I don't wanna. Hi, James. Welcome in. Unfortunately, I am actually just getting ready to just bounce because I gotta go do office hours for my students. They keep using AI! I'm debating attempting a nap. Not sure if I should do that or eat food. A nap for lunch. A nap for lunch is a thing. I can't. That's funny, though. True. You're not wrong. Hi, Simon. Welcome in. Doing well. I'm actually just about to sign off for the day, but we were working on some concept art today for my portfolio, so it's been very, very fun. Actually, now looking at this, I'm going to actually move this down just a little bit. I have to go in like 2 minutes, and I really don't want to. I would really rather not. And actually, I'm going to do some really quick cleanup here. Fix this. Just a little bit. I'm going to have to fix this ear, but that's all right. I did. I listened to some of the music. Your taste in music's fantastic, by the way. Thank you for sharing that playlist with me. It was really cool. Let me see. I'm going to try and fix this before I go to my office hours. Just to make sure that the face proportions are where they should be. That's much better. A little bit less, just a little bit. There we go. Better. Let me flip this and make sure that we look okay. This kid is missing his head. This is why we flip our canvas, by the way. Bye, Aqua. See you later. Nah, you were right, though. This is why we go back. We got to compare, contrast. That's like 99% of doing concept art, to be honest, is making sure that you're not only does your character function, but then also too, does it match the turnarounds and stuff that you've done, which is where it gets rough. So actually, let me fix this too. And most of the time, you just need to like look away from it and make sure that it looks okay. And that definitely this looks better. Oh, but actually, I need to make sure that this other thing, because there is some degree of asymmetry here. To be honest, though, I keep having this issue. That's better. I'm going to open up my office hours, and there's guaranteed going to be a student waiting in there. There we go. Better, better, better. And to be honest, I might actually, like, cut this. Nice. Yeah, I like music, so I listen to a bunch of stuff. Yes, same. Same. Yeah, I love that. I constantly am listening to new things because I like to be inspired. All of my books have playlists that like go with the music to kind of fit the theme. This does not go in this playlist. I don't really know. Okay, good luck, Jamie. Enjoy your food. Get some rest. There we go, better. And actually, truly... just so that you can see me too. That's better. Better, better, better. Let me figure out. There we go. More appropriate. There we go. Perf. All right, and then I guess I'm gonna have to pick this up next time, probably on Monday. So, okay. Thank you so much for everybody who hung out. Also, too, thanks so much to Crayoni for following me on Twitch off stream, which was very cool. That was very nice. And for everybody following me on also TikTok and YouTube. I'm now at like 800 followers on TikTok, which is great. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that a lot. Yeah, I hope everybody has a good, restful rest of your day and that you get some sleep if you need it. But I'll be back on Monday. I might play some games over the weekend, so keep an eye out for pop-up streams. But for the most part, maybe, maybe not. It kind of just depends on how free I might be. So if you want to hang around, keep an eye out on my Twitch for notifications or my YouTube as well for those notifications for live. Otherwise, I'll be back on Monday with some more portfolio work. So I hope you have a great weekend. I'll see you all later. And thanks so much for hanging around again. See you soon. Bye-bye.